Okay, I'm going to try to explain how I solved this. So keep in mind, it took me a while looking at this to determine where I wanted to start. And I'm not trying to give you the answer. I'm trying to talk to you about like how to actually approach something like this and solve it. So one of the things I noticed after looking at this for a while is that there's a 0 here, and there's only one digit here. There's 5 digits here, which means this number and this number ends in 0, 0, 0. I'm just going to write that in. This has to end in 0, 0, 0. And that means there's left with these 2 digits when you multiply these 2 numbers. And since you have a 0 here, clearly this has to be a digit that's not 0. The only thing that makes any sense is that this would be a 9, okay, and that you added 1 from the previous column to get a 10. So when thinking about it, 2 digits that multiply together that end in a 9 like this, there's only one option, and that is 49. So this little bit, solving this part, is just using logic. And there's really only one option when you think about it logically. Okay, since this is 1 plus 9 and this is 10, that means you're adding 1 here, and that means that this has to be a 5. Okay, so we've gotten that far. So when I look at the rest of this, I see here that I have 2 answers in this line. So when looking at this, I see that I have 2 answers here that are 3 digits. That means that I have, when I'm multiplying this times this and getting this, that means this has to end in 2 zeros as well. So, oh, I almost forgot. Clearly, since I have a 49 here, that means that this is 7 and this is 7. Sorry about that. Okay, so since this is 7 and since I have 2 digits here, this has to be, just a single digit that I get here. There's only one option for that as well. So I'm solving that part with logic. This has to be a 1 because as soon as I get to 7 times 2, I end up with 14, and I don't have 2 digits here to play with. I only have 1. So I'm going to put a 7 there. Okay, so here's where I had to do a little bit more work other than logic. So I have a 0 here. That means that 7 plus something has ended up being 10. So there's 3 options, or at least in my mind, there were 3 options immediately that sprung to mind. I could have 3 here and have this be 35, like 7 times 5 is 35, and have 350 here, and that would give me 10. Or I could have added a 1 from the previous column and ended up with either 21 here or 28. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but this part of the problem is where I did some guess and check. When I did 350 here, and then I tried to work out what would go here, there was nothing that would give me the results down here that made sense. So I tried 7 times 5 is 350, and that didn't work with any combination of numbers I could have here. And then I did 7 times 3, which would be 210, and that didn't work with any combination. So when I did 7 times 4 and got 28, so I ended up with 280 here, that worked out fine. So this part I solved kind of with guess and check. That means that you have a 1 that was carried over here. So you have 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 7 is 10. So that works out. So then I come over here, and I'm ending up with a 1 here, but I have an 8 here. That means that I can't, this is an 11. This is the 1's part of the 11, and we carried the 10 over. So there's only one option that works for it at that point. So this part's nice and clean because it does work out very logically. This has to be a 3. And there's only one number that's going to work there. That's 35. So this has to be a 5. And that means that this is a 5. So I was just trying to explain it a little bit, so I'm not just giving you the answer, but just sort of some strategies. Like, try to look at what logically will fit together, and then only guess and check the parts that you really have to guess and check.